hours news in brief. I'll be joined by Livingstone Kawesi for sign language interpretation and translation. We'll go straight into our international news. At least 23 people have been killed as dozens more injured in a Russian missile strike on a humanitarian convoy in southern Ukraine, according to a local official. A huge crater next to a row of vehicles in the city of Zaporizhia testifies to the violence of the attack. Windows and windscreens have been smashed in. The press saw half a dozen bodies lying at the scene, apparently civilians. Baggage and coats strewed the tarmac. A Russian-installed local official blamed Ukraine for today's attack. The convoy was hit in the early hours of Friday, and as people were preparing to travel to Russia, the Russian-occupied region, to pick up their relatives and also deliver humanitarian aid. Still on the war in Ukraine, the U.S. will never recognize Russia's attempt to annex territory in Ukraine, according to President Joe Biden. He was speaking ahead of a speech today from Vladimir Putin, who is due to declare that 4 occupied Ukrainian regions will join Russia. The Kremlin says Luhansk, Donetsk, Zaporizhia and Kherson backed annexation in 5-day referendums. The so-called votes have been widely condemned outside Russia as a sham. The U.S. will impose new sanctions on Russia as a result of the annexation. Yesterday, the Russian president signed 2 decrees recognizing Zaporizhia and Kherson as independent territories, paving way for them to be annexed. And also in the Middle East, police in Kabul say a suicide attack at a tuition center in the Afghan capital has killed at least 19 people and wounded many more. The blast took place at the Kaj Education Center in the Dash-e-Barchi area in the west of the city. Students had been sitting a practice university exam, according to an official at the center. Most of the dead are girls. Many of those living in the area from the Hazara ethnic minority, which has been targeted in previous attacks. Footage on local TV shared on social media appears to show scenes from a nearby hospital where rows of covered bodies were laid out on the floor. Other media reportedly from the site of the private college showed rubble and upturned tables in the damaged classrooms. And in the United States, a huge search and rescue effort is continuing in Florida in the aftermath of Hurricane Ian, which cut a swath of destruction across the U.S. state. At least 10 people have died in the state, but officials fear the confirmed toll could rise considerably. Joe Biden has warned the Category 1 storm could be the deadliest hurricane in Florida's history, with a substantial loss of life. Ian is now moving inland and heading towards North and South Carolina. A blackout is still affecting some 2.2 million Florida homes and businesses. The flood waters had been so severe, and they have trapped some people in their homes, according to officials, with the National Guard going door to door in the city of Orlando to rescue those that are still stranded. The 10 deaths that have been confirmed were all in the southwest Charlotte County, which saw intense winds. Joseph Tiseo, a local commissioner, told the press the area had a tremendous wind, even that lasted for 12 hours straight, adding that it was very brutal. And in the UK, new coins featuring the portrait of King Charles have been revealed, with a 50p carrying his image entering a general circulation within weeks. The press was given a first glimpse of the 50p and commemorative £5 crown, which include an image of the king by British sculptor Martin Jennings. The coins follow centuries of tradition, with the monarch now facing left, the opposite way to his predecessor. As with previous British kings, and unlike the Queen, he wears no crown. King Charles personally approved the effigy and was understood to be pleased with the likeness. The coins will be sold to collectors by the Royal Mint from early next week. The 50p coin will be available for general use as well before the end of the year, distributed according to demands by banks, building societies and post offices. They will co-circulate with coins featuring the late Queen, so those 27 billion coins will still be accepted in shops. And finally, in the world of science and technology, NASA and the SpaceX rocket company are to study the feasibility of running a private astronaut mission to extend the life of the Hubble telescope. The orbiting observatory, one of the greatest instruments in the history of science, is gradually losing altitude. If nothing is done to reboost it, the telescope will eventually fall into the atmosphere and burn up. Hubble was serviced on 5 occasions by astronauts in NASA's space shuttle, the last time being in 2009. Since then, the telescope has come down by about 25 kilometers and now circles the Earth at a height of 540 kilometers. Ideally, NASA would like to get the observatory back up to the 600-kilometer altitude where it was positioned at the launch in 1990. This might give it an additional 20 to 30 years of life, although longevity would also be heavily dependent on the continued good operation of the telescope system and, in particular, its 4 instruments. Well, that brings us to the end of this afternoon's news in brief. Thank you for watching Channel 44. Pastor Jessica Kayanja is coming on with the Marriage Now program as she shares greatly on the wisdom of, on the glory of God as you sow your seed into Karamoja. God bless you. Enjoy your afternoon. Goodbye.